what they're doing in classes, because if they can't communicate about what's happening in their classes, then I think we're in real trouble.
And I just wanted to say on that, if you want to see kids working together, working hard, the Young Americans group with, I think we had 276 kids involved, and it was phenomenal. It's the only word I can use for it. And just to see the kids working like that and putting in a lot of time and effort, which is great.
Last one on communication is continued open relationships with parents. I do meet quarterly with the Parent Association and our Parent Advisory Council, and I think this is an effective way to get all of the PTO and other parent support groups together to make sure that they're also moving on in the same page, in the same direction, and it gives them a chance to ask questions about, what's this group doing versus that group. The third broad goal deals with policy. This is really a continuation of the school committee's efforts, working with the school committee policy subgroup, and lists out some of the new policies that we're going to be working on this year, which should be identical to what the school committee has listed out. And the final goal deals with professional development. It's a requirement, as all educators need to be relicensed, so I need to submit a professional development plan, and that's what this is all about. Most of it is continuation with a couple of new examples, and that is to work with the University of Lowell in building a school and university partnership, expanding on that. One of the outgrowths of that partnership was the Teams Academy at the high school. We think that there could be improved relations in other areas and some of the other schools at UMass Lowell to really make North Reading be a part of that. We're also working through the North Shore Consortium to plan the potential here is to plan a gifted and talented program for math and science for 8th and 9th grade students, and we're exploring the possibility of having that at Endicott College. It would be a summer program. And the last part is we're continuing to work with Massachusetts ASCD to develop an online training module for new teacher leadership. Again, I spoke about that earlier, trying to get teachers into department head and other leadership roles. So that's it.
Just something that struck me when we had the UMass Lowell program. It was for a handful of kids that could pass the grade. And here the one that you mentioned, the North Shore, is for gifted and talented. And I would really like if you kept your eyes open to something that would supplement our business education department, because we do the bookkeeping and the accounting, but we're really lacking a real business ed program. And a lot of the two-year colleges, that's what they do well. So I would like you to keep your eyes open for something that we could help kids gauge whether a business is something they would do in their future, if we don't have that to offer them in their real 40s here.
2 weeks ago, I hosted a breakfast meeting at the University of Lowell, where the new Chancellor, Marty Meehan, former congressman, is now Chancellor there. He is keenly interested in building these partnerships. He's very entrepreneurial. The new provost there, also we invited the deans, the 6 deans of the colleges, to meet with superintendents, and one of the deans is through the School of Business and Management. So I think there's a real potential to build a partnership.
Great. I think there's just a group of kids that really don't succeed in a 4-year liberal arts program, but we really encourage our kids to go beyond grade 12. In the 2-year colleges, it's an answer for a lot of kids, but we need to study what they have to offer and introduce it to kids.
Last week, Jesse O'Brien, who's the K-12 art department head, and I we were invited to attend a meeting at Montserrat Art College. And again, here's another college with a very definite focus, looking for a way to supplement what local schools, public schools either can do or cannot do.
They really expand. I don't know if you went up there, but they
Absolutely.
really expanded.
We were there
Did you see that new the new dorm facility they're building up there. It's unbelievable the way they're expanding their programs and number of students, so.
So it was only two other superintendents attended that, so we were very fortunate. We want to be in, and that's part of the work, is to reach out. It's, a partnership is not just, let me take something, but, what can I give you, and what can we give each other, and that back and forth.
Right.
Higher education certainly is very willing to work with local K-12 schools.
Great. We just have to be careful not to always offer it
Right.
for the,
College bound.
yeah, or
Or
the
year
gifted and
liberal arts, right.
talented, because it's some of the average students that just haven't blossomed yet because we haven't introduced them to that thing that they do great.
Any further discussion on the goals? If not, can I have a motion to approve the superintendent's goals for 2008, 2009?
So moved.
Motion by Mrs. Davis, second by Mr. Bowers. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimous.
Excuse me, Mr. Chair, I have a minor emergency at home, so I
Okay.
need to excuse myself.
Okay.
Can I email you tomorrow morning to find out what went on in
Yes.
executive
Okay.
session?
Just a minor one.
It's just fine.
Yes.
Okay.
All right.
Nobody's
Just
hurting
worry.
down, nobody's going to
Okay,
the
all right, no
hospital.
hospital runs, all right.
Okay, next we have discussion of ballot questions. I'd like personally like to focus on question one
One.
here. There's a couple of things I'd like to do. Based on all the information that I've read from the Ethics Commission, that we can take a vote on any question that we want to, but we can't urge the voters to vote one way or the other, which sounds kind of silly when you think about it, because when we take a vote on an ethics, on a question, you
Yeah.
kind of get the idea of how we're, so after we have after the discussion on question one, I'd like to propose a motion that we could introduce that's been adopted by several school committees in Massachusetts. But David, I don't know if you want to.
I just put this on the agenda because I think that there has been a lot of discussion among school committees about whether or not you can even discuss ballot questions, and it's pretty clear that the Ethics Commission is saying that you can, and you can actually take a vote on them, as you said, Mel, not without urging others to take a position.
It's a
on that.
question on the great numbers.
No, that's a great memory.
It's to eliminate the state tax.
Yeah, eliminate the state income tax. And I had some information here somewhere, but now I can't find it. But here it is right here. Just quickly, it's to eliminate the state income tax. It was approved initially. It would cut the tax in half, I believe, on January 1, 2009, and on January 1, 2010, it would eliminate it completely. Just some information that I was looking at tonight, and this was a group that's obviously opposed to the question. However, they did a survey, or they did a report for each community as to what it would cost your town. Their estimate is that in Chapter 70, North Reading would lose $840,000, or 14%. Special education money, which is the circuit breaker, we lose almost $273,000, which is 65%. Not sure on this one. I don't know how they figure this, but school construction and repair, I guess they're saying is that the MSBA funding would be cut. We would lose almost $304,000. Now this is 1 year. This is an annual, and then other aid, including grants, a small amount, $2,395. If we don't get that much anyway, that'd be 18%. They estimate the total that North Reading would lose, just as just a school district, is 20% of what we get from the state, or about $1,419,000. On the town side, public safety and other aid would lose $1,640,000, or about 65%, and road, bridge construction and repair, $235,000, also 65%. So the total loss to North Reading would be $3.3 million. And if people are saying that they want to send a message, and I guess that's understandable, but the proponents have not come forward with any details on how these draconian cuts would be implemented.
That was the question I was going to ask you. Does that paper have how the towns are going to make that up?
No.
So just get the cut.
Right, just saying there's the cuts, you're on your own.
It doesn't even provide for any type of a change in 2.5.
No,
It doesn't
exactly.
do anything.
So 2.5 would still be in place, so you couldn't just say, well, we're gonna,
Right.
you know, what, the speculation that I've heard is
You can
that.
only do it by override. I mean, there wouldn't be any way to replace
Right.
the lost revenue.
Some of the speculation is they'd increase the sales tax from 5% to 10%. And, which is, the sales tax is an extremely regressive tax. And that would make up for some of the money. But the options are limited as to, you know, there is also an opportunity, I think New Hampshire has this, there's a statewide property tax. In addition to each town, there's a statewide property tax to fund education, which the state could also do. So,
I think eliminating the state tax without any kind of plan on what you're gonna reduce is, you know, as the bumper sticker says, it's a reckless idea. You know, it's like saying to the superintendent and the business manager, just cut 40% on the budget next year and not giving you any direction.
Right.
And still expecting you to offer a quality education.
Well, nobody that's making these proposals expecting us to offer quality anything. I mean,
Right.
this is something that's
Well, that's
an
the point.
extreme
right.
I mean,
message that they're trying to send, and I'm not sure, I don't know how somebody rationally supports something like this. I don't know, I'd like to hear a debate or an argument on it, but it just,
It's
doesn't make any sense at
non-existent
all.
because they don't care what gets cut. I mean, I understand there's frustration and people want to send a message that the state is out of control with its spending. I went through the list of earmarks that were approved after the budget was done, and it was appalling.
Yes.
Appalling. I mean, I am grateful that our representative doesn't take part in that kind of games.
he can't, he's in the minority.
But some of the items that these towns are getting, after the budget's done and balanced, it's the reason why articles like this, ballot questions pop up that want to cut the state tax. But, you know, it's very tempting, especially today with the rising gas for your car and heating oil and user fees in your school districts. It's very tempting to want to send that message or to want to save a couple of dollars. But the devil is in the details. This report out on the Mass Taxpayers Foundation website, it's about 26 pages long.
Right, it's very good.
And, you know, the proponents of the question 1 will say that you'll save $3,700 a year. Well, that's only if you make over $100,000. For the majority of people that make less than $100,000 a year, the savings is only $825.
And if it's under 50,000, it's somewhere in the $300,
Exactly.
$400 range, annual savings.
Except that to make up the difference is all through regressive taxes.
Exactly, all through, right, it's gonna be property
Yeah.
tax, sales tax.
That will hurt all of
Everybody.
those people
Right,
making
more
less
than-
than $100,000.
exactly.
Exactly.
Right, those people get hit the hardest.
And of course, those are the people who are in the majority, so those are the people who would vote on this.
Exactly.
Yep.
Exactly.
There's another way to send that message, and it does, you have to be responsible, you have to pay attention, and you have to vote out of office people that can't balance a budget and spend with, and the priorities that people direct them to. It's out of control, but people that are gonna suffer is, you know, anything in the health services, or the human services, or education, they're the first couple that are gonna go. And then, if you really study the financial implications, our bond rating will go down the drain. And the state will have to make up more money because of the increase in the interest rates that we will be charged. It will put us in an awful financial situation statewide, and on the local level, we'll go back to seeing the disparity in education. If towns like Andover and Lynnfield are willing to support overrides so that they can keep kindergarten as part of the public school program and offer AP classes, and people in towns like North Reading don't,
Then we're gonna fall behind. Right.
where's the definition, where's the meaning behind, you know, a diploma from a public school in Massachusetts, when in one town they've got K-12, and another town they've eliminated kindergarten and foreign languages.
You kidding me? We only have K-6.
It's going backwards in a time when we really need to have more of a uniform approach to education, so we have meaning when we say this is what a diploma in the state of Massachusetts means. mean, we're only protecting education, there are so many other departments